Hello guys, my name is Lucas and welcome to a new episode of our RPG series. Today we're going to be working on the UI. We're going to make a level up text come up on top of our player when we level up, and you can use the same technique to show the damage you deal on top of your enemies, or if you would like to display their HP, you can use this technique as well. So before we begin, I want to talk about something we did in the past. We made a function in the player controller called set health, and I'm not remember if I went through this or not, but the function set health is what we use to deal damage to ourselves. So when we get hit, we actually set the health to the current health minus the damage. And likewise, if we would like to heal ourselves by drinking a potion, or if we get healed by an ability or something, we're going to use this function, set health. But the main point here on today's video is this. We have the health bar, and we find the fill of the health bar, and we just change the fill amount. This is what actually this does is here you can see in the, if you see, we have that in the character info health field. That's a property of images that are of type field, and we can actually fill the bar accordingly. So this value here, we will just set it depending on the current health and the total health. So current health divided in total health is always going to be a value between 0 and 1. So if it's 0.5, that means we have half health, and this is going to be filled to half of its total health. So if we actually go and play, you see that I already set my HP to 30, and if I go and get hit by the mummy, you see it's actually taking health away from me. So every time we get hit, we could actually have numbers come up, because right now our UI is a little bit responsive. We have this here. We actually use the same way to increase the experience bar with the fill method here, and we should use the same to increase our SP or mana points or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, now that we actually worked on this UI here, I would like to work with some of the UI that appears on the main screen here, so in top of our character, for example. But we have a little problem. We need to understand how we can translate the world position, because our mummies and our player, they might be in different positions at different time of the game. So we need to get their position, and we need to translate that to canvas coordinates, because you see the canvas coordinates are actually different from the viewport coordinates and the screen coordinates and world coordinates. So actually Unity likes having different coordinates for everything. So we are going to make a translation. So here in UI Manager, I already made a function I'm going to share with you. So just go to UI Manager or whatever you want to have this function and make a vector2 function, because we're going to return a canvas point. So I call it world to canvas point. And it has a parameter of a vector3, which is going to be the world position. In this case, is going to be our player, because we would like to show the damage or level up on top of his head. So we need to find its position on the world space. So we have this parameter, and we are going to translate it first to the viewport point. So now, viewport is this here, is what the player actually sees. But these coordinates go from 0, 0 here in the bottom left corner, and they go all the way up to 1, 1 here at the right. So the middle of the screen would be 0.5, 0.5. And maybe here down in the middle bottom would be 0.5, 0. So we need to get this coordinate first. How we get that coordinate is through the camera class. So we just call camera main world to viewport point. So we're going to get that coordinate in this variable. So with this variable, we actually can proceed and get the canvas point. But before we get the canvas point, we need to get another value called the canvas size. And this should be, let me use my rename function here, Command R in Mac and F2 in Windows. So I'm going to call this canvas size. And this is going to be called canvas point. All right. So, enter. Yeah. So as I was saying, canvas size is just the canvas size delta that we get from its rect transform. So remember that we had a reference to the canvas because we are in the UI manager. So we can conveniently just get canvas.getComponent rect transform size delta. And this is the size in pixels that we set here. Canvas, you see here, width is 1920 times 1200. So that will depend on the ratio that you set on your game display or in the screen if you're playing this on a phone, maybe the screen of your phone or the resolution you chose to play this game. So that's going to be the size delta. Now that we have the size delta, we can actually make a quite short formula to get the actual canvas point. That means in this kind of value, so that we can use it to set the position of the text that we want to show on top of our character. And that formula is actually very simple. We need first the viewport point, and we're going to multiply that times the canvas size, because remember, the viewport point goes from 0 to 1. So what we want to is to get this from 0 to 1920, which is, I think, the canvas size. Yeah, here. So this would be 190 and 20, and this height here would be 1200. So how we do that? We just multiply times the canvas size. So here you see I make a new vector 2, and that's viewport point dot x times the canvas size dot x, and then the viewport point dot y times canvas size dot y. But the thing with the canvas is that 0, 0 is in the middle of the screen. So right now we have 0 here, and since we multiply times the canvas size, we have 1920, 1200. We have that point here. But now we need to move it half to the left and half downwards, since the 0, 0 coordinate is in the middle. So actually, sorry, this 0, 0, we have to bring it all the way up here. And how we do that? Just by subtracting half of the canvas size. So if we subtract that, actually 0, 0 will be here, and this point will go to minus half of the canvas size, and this point out here is going to go to a half of the canvas size. And that will effectively be the canvas point that we want to get. So then finally, after we calculate that, we return the canvas point. So let me change this a little bit. We could actually just simply return this. Return. And we just return this whole thing here. So we can actually delete this. It's the same. We just didn't save it into a variable before we return it. So we save one line, and also we don't store that variable into our memory. So we save one step to the processor. So now we can actually get, whenever we use this function, we're going to get the corresponding point of something that is in world space to the canvas point. So for example, if I choose the witch doctor and I use that function, it's going to return the corresponding coordinate in canvas space, so we could put the name underneath him or something like that. We could do whatever we want since we already have the corresponding canvas position of this guy on screen. So let's try this. Let's try to do a level up text whenever we level up and put it above the player's head. So first we're going to create a level up text. So here in character info, I'm just going to make a UI text, and I'm going to call it level up underscore text. And this is just a new text. I'm going to set the size to something big like 70, and I'm going to center it here and here. Overflow, I think you're all familiar with this already. Overflow, the color I want to make it yellow. Why yellow? I don't know why. Maybe it'll be easier to read once it's in our background. I'm going to make this bold also. Here I'm going to move it a little bit so we can actually see. And we should place this directly in the canvas so that we can actually go to 0, 0, since we're actually using coordinates relative to the canvas. So here, 0, 0, and we have the text here. And I'm going to also add a outline, maybe black color. I'm going to make it not transparent, and I'm going to increase this 2 and 2. And finally, I'm going to change this text to level up, like that. Okay, so now we're going to make a function to make this appear when we level up, and disappear after 2 seconds. So first we're going to make a reference to the level up text here in the UI manager. So public transform, and I'm going to call it level up text. And we're going to set this here in awake, just like when we set the quest book and other things. We're going to set the level up text. So level up text equals to canvas dot find level up underscore text. Is like that. Make sure you spell correctly. Everything is uppercase. Oops. Text. And canvas is also transform, so we can just find that's correct. And that's going to set our level up text, and make sure to make it public so that we can access it from other classes. So now we have this button. We're going to deactivate it by default. So whenever we level up, we're going to set it active, and then we're going to set it inactive after 2 seconds. So here in player controller, we have a level up function. So level up, as you see, this increases level text. And now we also want to make the text appear on top of our head. So here, first we get the UI manager dot instance dot level up text, and we get the game object and set it game object dot set active true. So the first thing we want to do is set it active, and the second thing we want to do is put it on top of our heads. So how we do that? We access it again, UI manager dot instance dot level up text dot get component, and we want to get the rect transform, because we want to change the anchored position of the text. The anchored position is just the position relative to the canvas that he's anchored to. In this case, the main canvas. So it's the whole canvas here in our screen. So we're going to set this anchored position to a variable. I'm just going to make a vector2, just position or something, position of text equals to UI manager dot world. Okay, let's stop this first here. Position of text is going to be UI manager dot instance dot world to canvas point, and world to canvas point, we need to give it a position, and that position is going to be transformed. That's the transform of the player that we're currently on. So because remember, this is a player controller, that would be our player, and this transform is his transform. So transform dot position, and I want it to appear on top of his head. So I'm going to add a vector3 dot up, maybe ×2, because I remember our player is like 1.6 units tall. So this would be 2 units above his feet. So that's the position of the text. So now we go back to this line, UI manager dot instance. Oh, and I forgot to put my semicolon there. We go back to this line here, UI manager instance level up text get component rect transform anchored position is equals to the position of text. So let's try this right now it's not going to disappear after 2 seconds, it's just going to stay there forever. But let's try to do it. So if I go and kill Mummy, then we have the level up in top of our heads. And if you don't believe me that that's based on the position of our player on the camera, we can actually take the main camera, and here follow target offset, we can give it some X offset, so it's like this. Now you see our player is all the way here on the right. So right now if I level up here, the text should appear here on top of my head. So there you go. The text is going to appear wherever my player was at that time. And if I put it on the update, actually the text is going to follow my player wherever it goes. So you could have the Mummy update to have its name, or maybe the level, or maybe some UI for the Mummy, whatever you'd like to do. You can do it with the UI manager function that we made, which is the world to canvas point. So let's finish this by setting a timer and setting the level up text back to inactive. So how can we do this? So how we're going to do this is a pretty simple solution. Maybe not the best solution, but it's simple enough so you can do it or try to find a better solution yourself. I'm going to make a iEnumerator, and I'm going to call it show level up text. And I like to add the word routine at the end, so I know it's easy for me to know which functions are iEnumerators and which ones are not. So show level up text routine, and here I'm going to take all this here, cut it and put it inside here. And at the end of this, I'm going to yield return new wait for seconds. So after 2 seconds, or maybe 1.5 seconds, I'm going to do the same that I did on the first line here, but now we're going to set active false, so it turns off. And here, remember, in void level up, we're going to start coroutine show level up text routine. Start that coroutine so that it will wait for 1.5 seconds there. So like that. So now if we go and try it, it should work. I forgot to change my camera values. Hold on. So if we now kill this Mummy and we level up, it's going to level up, and after 1.5 seconds it's going to disappear. So now we can keep killing mummies, and every time we level up, it's going to level up. So you could have some animations, maybe use iTween to slowly rise the level up text, increase the size, have some particles. Just decorate as much as you want. It's going to be great for your game. And now I have a challenge for you. So now we did this, I would like you to try and do the same that we did now, but for receiving and dealing damage. So whenever we hit a mummy, you will see the numbers appear on top of their head. So if I deal 10 damage, you just show a 10 on top of it. And if they hit us and deal us 2 damage, you should show a 2. So do it and tell me in the comments if you're able to do it. And if you need any help, I will help you as well. So that's basically it for this lesson. I hope you have all your UI tuned right now so that we can keep moving on to the next topic, which is going to be inventory. So as some of you know, I already made an inventory series, but this one is going to be much shorter and much simpler. So it will allow us to keep moving with the core mechanics of this game. So thank you very much, guys. Please keep tuned. Please keep liking my videos and commenting, and subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you next time. Goodbye. Peace.